I didn't have to do anything with this one at all. My husband took it over. But it's ready to go. Like, it is cooking. It smells absolutely delicious. And we have a hot meal at the end of the day that we didn't have to do a whole lot of physical labor on. Even preparing crock pot meals are not labor intensive.
No.
Generally, it's chopping vegetables.
Because everything is made to cook long and slow, you don't have to worry so much about the temperature that everything's at. You don't have to cook everything separate.
Nope, you just throw it in there together and let it go.
Whereas with casseroles, sometimes you have to cook a lot of the components of casseroles separately. And so that's when I think that a lot of people hear crock pot meals and casserole meals and think that they're relatively synonymous, but they really aren't.
They're very different.
I love both. But casseroles, I have a special place in my heart for casseroles, but I do often have to cook things separate for them. And then put them all together to, like, marinate in the warmth of an oven at the end. So you'll cook them typically in pots and pans. I do a lot of, like, chicken enchilada type casseroles and king chicken type casseroles.
Yes.
Things with noodles or rice, those types of things.
Because they're popular with children, too.
And adults. Often popular. And you can pour a whole bunch of seasoning, and it's going to override anything else that you did, so it's probably going to be fine.
True story.
But yeah, you just cook everything, because the meat has to be cooked through, and you can't put it in a giant dish and expect every single piece of meat to have the same amount of heat. And so that's one of the key things about casseroles.
Yeah.
But they also are only in the oven for about an hour. Whereas in a crock pot, it might be in the oven all day, or in the crock pot all day.
Yeah, it's there. It's going to cook. Usually crock pots cook for at least 4 hours.
And that's why you can throw all the meat in there all together and be good with it.
Yeah. I have found a, like, beef stroganoff, like, crock pot recipe that I have used, which is lovely. Stroganoff in itself is not hard to cook at home. It's not, but if you don't have 2 hours to saute the meat and, you know, saute the veggies and then make the sauce, and
a good stroganoff needs to sit and marinate.
Yeah, it has to cook. Like, it has to,
it's
like,
the same thing with, like, stews.
Yeah. And so, but you can throw it in the crock pot. Generally, you have to at least brown the meat before you throw it in the crock pot.
Yes.
Because it helps enhance the flavor of the meat if you sear it really good first and then throw it in the crock pot. But I found recipes where you don't have to do that, but to each their own.
You can also throw it in the bottom of the crock pot dry on high heat, and sometimes you can get a sear on it depending on your crock pot.
Yeah, it just depends. Some of my my pressure cooker can do that.
Yes, my Instapot can do that, where I can sear it.
Yeah,
and then let it sit like a crock pot.
Searing option. Yes, it's like very similar, just
faster.
So you know,
we have a lot of kitchen appliances. Yeah, so like me alone, I have 3 different crock pots, all 3 different sizes, and then I have an Instapot.
Yep.
And an air fryer that's got a double chamber.
Yep, I've got the air fryer, I've got the Instapot, I've got the crock pot, I've got
the canner, the pressure cooker.
Yep, I got a couple of different things. So we love to, like, I like a fix it and forget it lifestyle.
Yes.
I'm all about it because
some of these things are costly, but it's up front and you got it forever.
Yeah, and you have to think of how much is your time worth. I have children in sports. We have church. I just spent an all day on a Saturday at a beekeeping school. So guess what was not on my mind? Fixing, coming home and cooking dinner. So having appliances that are going to do it for me are fantastic.
So awesome.
I love that. So you have to decide what is going to save you the most. I did find a really cool article online. It was called How to Meal Prep for the Week, and it was by Taylor Stinson, found via the Google on a website called thegirlonbloor.com. And I don't know what that means, but thegirlonbloor.com, BLOOR.com. Anyway, so she has a few suggestions. She suggests a master list of recipes. She says it's easier to document what you like and what you don't like, and then you just pull from what you know you like. So you've got, 20 recipes on the you like these recipes, and you can pull from those recipes every week, and that way you get a different rotation of foods, meals.
Yes.
And
there's so many free apps on your phone.
So many apps. There's so many ways you could play this. Like, it's easy. So keeping a list is not difficult. But she recommends you choose 2 to 5 recipes from your master list every week. You sit down, you make your meal plan at least once a week. And then you go grocery shopping at least once a week. But the important thing is to take your list with you.
Yeah.
Because it defeats the purpose of
or you
doing all
just mess up
that
your
work.
plan.
Because then you're like, ooh, I don't remember what I was going to have. Is it chicken teriyaki or beef or I don't remember. And you just go crazy. But it helps plan it. I also look at like coupons. And I'm planning my meals based on coupons. And so you could do the same thing.
Beginning of the talk about how sometimes you pick your meat that's on sale first and then plan your week accordingly.
Yeah, so do this, take your list with you.
And everything's online. You know what's on sale before you go there. You just didn't take the time to look until you got there.
Just look. Yeah, take the 5 to 10 minutes and look. Then she says you want to prep your ingredients or batch cook. And by that she's saying you either dice everything up or you cook everything and you divide it and you store it accordingly. And you should always store your food in the right containers. So there's glass containers, there's plastic containers, there's freezer-safe containers, there's fridge-only containers. Make sure you're using the right one to contain whatever dish it is that you've created.
I batch cook. So Eliza described how she does the prepping of the ingredients, but not actually cooking them all at the same time. I batch cook, which means I prep everything and cook everything 2 to 3 times a week. I cook everything.
Mm-hmm. And the thing to keep in mind is that cooked items are going to last 3 to 5 days in the fridge. So, which is why you're only prepping like a few days worth of meals, because you know it's only going to last a few days in the fridge. And if you want to cook to freeze the meals, they do recommend it's a 2 to 3 month lifespan, depending on how you seal it and put it in there.
But what's handy about that is I do that about once a month. And what's handy about it is when you are running, doing a whole bunch of research on beekeeping, apparently. And I didn't know that until right now, by the way. I'm like,
by the way, that's where I was yesterday.
Know you anymore?
By the way, that's where we were yesterday.
How did we not have this conversation yet? But anyway,
I'm pouring myself another glass while you talk.
About once a month, I will cook a giant batch meal that I will then freeze. But again, you can just grab it, and it'll be family size packaged for me. And then it's typically about 1.5 pounds of a soup. And then I'll just put it in a crock pot to heat up, or put it on the stovetop and heat it up for a meal. Yeah. Because it's already prepared.
It's ready to go.
I don't do that every week because it's not necessary, or I would have no freezer space.
That's true.
And I have a lot of freezer space. I have technically 3 freezers at my house.
That's true. Also true.
One is tiny, one is medium, and one is large.
I just have 2. I've got my deep freezer and my regular fridge freezer. Both are stuffed.
So I have lots of space, but still, don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, don't overdo it. Our last tip is that if you can't find time, there are more expensive options than what we've discussed, because we're talking like we're trying to save money and stuff, but maybe, you're like, at this point, I don't even fucking care. I just need food for the family, right? We get to that point. Meal services are really good.
I absolutely loved doing one when I was by myself. Because they send everything, and then again, you're still saving money on ingredients because you're only using what you need.
Yep.
Because they don't send you a whole bunch of excess that you feel bad throwing out next week.
Nope. I love them. We've used HelloFresh. I've known people that have used like Home Chef or Blue Apron. All great meal services. They provide the food fresh to your doorstep. It's cold. It's ready to go. It's divided. You just cook to the instructions.
Also, some of them are in your grocery stores now.
Yeah, that's true. They have moved a lot of these to grocery. I think, was it Home Chef is at H-E-B?
I think so.
I think it's at H-E-B. You might not have an H-E-B, and we feel sorry for you.
H-E Butt. Henry Edward Butt is amazing.
Yeah, they've done a really good stuff. H-E-B, Kroger, and other grocery stores like big chains, they do have pre-made meal kits where you can walk in and buy like an entire fresh lasagna. And they don't take an hour to cook because they're not frozen. They only take like 35 to 40 minutes to cook because they're fresh. Those are great ways to go.
They're basically meal prepping for you.
They're prepping for you. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. So if you're struggling
the first couple of months of meal prepping, hit you up some of those.
Yeah, because I can literally swing by a Kroger on my way out of town, pick up an entire meal from their meal prep area, and feed my family and not feel like I broke the bank. Right? I've obviously spent more money than I would have if I did it myself, but I didn't break the bank. And
right. It's still cheaper because you have less loss and less waste.
Yeah.
Speaking from people who do this a lot.
We do it a lot.
We cook a lot.
A lot. Like, I think out of a 7-day week, I'm cooking 5 to 6 days every like 5 to 6 days out of that week.
We were changing our countertops in our kitchen.
Yeah.
This past month.
Yeah.
And so it shut down my kitchen for about 7 days at one stint. And I almost panicked with the bills of going out to eat.
Yeah, because you're eating out the whole
time. Even though I was
time.
trying to get cheaper items,
It doesn't matter.
It was so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, we ate out and had sushi one night for 4 people. It was like $65.
Which might not sound that bad, but if you put a pen and paper to it and it's every day, whew.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
I'm about saving my money for doing things that I like to do, like this wine party we're going to. So
we'll catch y'all up later.
Yeah, you'll probably actually know about the wine party before you listen to this episode.
We were supposed to leave exactly this minute, and so we need to wrap this thing up.
So let's wrap it up. That is today's episode. You're welcome. We hope you enjoyed the wine and motherhood adventure. Thank you for tuning in and turning up with us. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram at Mom's Guide to Wine, and that is the number 2. Leave us a love note, episode suggestion, or just say hi. This is Eliza.
And this is Rosie.
And we will be spilling with you soon.